Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer, where we take fascinating source material and figure out exactly what makes it tick. Today, we're looking at a text that's roughly 2,000 years old, known as the Third Epistle of John, or just 3rd John. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A 2,000-year-old document sounds like some dusty, abstract theology, right? Well, actually, scratch that. You are in for a serious surprise. What we actually have here is a brilliantly hyper-focused case study in human behavior, malicious gossip, and complex leadership dynamics. It's a completely relatable look at what happens when egos clash in a tight-knit community, and the lessons here, they are just as applicable today as they were back then.
So, how did ancient communities handle toxic leaders? We kind of act like this is a uniquely 21st century corporate problem, don't we? We throw around terms like toxic leadership, boundary setting, and organizational health all the time as if we literally invented the concepts. But looking at this text, we can see right away that these are absolutely not new problems. Not at all. This letter reveals a universally relatable story of power struggles. It shows us that for as long as humans have been gathering in groups, there have been individuals trying to seize control, individuals trying to help others, and leaders caught right in the middle just trying to manage the fallout.
Part 1. An ancient letter of conflict. This specific source material is incredibly short. We're talking just 14 verses long. But man, is it packed with real-world, interpersonal drama among 3 distinct individuals. It's not a broad letter written to a massive crowd. It's a deeply personal message from a leader known simply as the Elder, addressing a highly specific local crisis. To really grasp just how volatile this situation is, check out how the Elder wraps up his thoughts. He says he has much more to write, but refuses to do it with pen and ink. He hopes to see them soon and talk face to face. I mean, we've all been there, right? When a situation at work or in a friend group gets so tense, so complicated, that you realize sending another email or text message is just going to make things worse. You got to handle it in person. The friction in this ancient community is so intense that the Elder knows written words just won't cut it anymore.
Part 2. Gaius walking in truth. To really understand the friction that requires this whole face-to-face meeting, we need to meet our cast of characters. Let's start with the protagonist of our letter, a guy named Gaius. The Elder addresses him right out of the gate as a dear friend, someone he truly values, and he definitely isn't the only one. Traveling brothers have been continuously coming back to the Elder and reporting on Gaius's incredible faithfulness to the community. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the Elder's immense joy over Gaius's reputation. He writes, "I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth." Gaius isn't just a good guy behind closed doors. He's built a powerful, undeniable reputation for his genuine, active commitment to his community's values.
So how exactly was Gaius demonstrating this truth so visibly to everybody else? Through ancient hospitality. The text praises Gaius for being incredibly faithful in what he does for these traveling brothers, even though they are total strangers to him. The Elder points out that these travelers went out for the sake of the name, receiving no help from the pagans. See, because they were a minority group, they couldn't rely on the outside society for any kind of support, so providing them with food, shelter, provisions, and sending them on their way in a manner worthy of God was absolutely crucial for their survival. It wasn't just about being polite. Gaius was essentially keeping the entire communication operational network of this ancient community alive. Without people like him, the whole thing just collapses.
Let's move to and see how this builds into part 3. Diotrephes, the ego problem.
Of course, every good protagonist needs an antagonist. And enter Diotrephes. If Gaius is the collaborative builder who welcomes strangers and works for the truth, Diotrephes is the exact opposite. He's the insecure gatekeeper, flat out refusing the traveling brothers and actively kicking people out of the group. And this brilliantly illustrates the stark difference between a supportive community member and a toxic one. It's a classic, timeless clash of leadership styles. On one hand, you've got someone creating an inclusive, supportive environment to keep the network alive. And on the other, you have a massive roadblock, a person completely derailing the mission just to maintain his own iron grip on the community. The Elder absolutely does not mince words when describing exactly what Diotrephes is doing. Look at this list of offenses straight from verse 10. I mean, this reads exactly like a modern-day HR complaint about an insecure, toxic manager. First, we get his core motivation. He loves to be first. Everything else just flows right from that unchecked ego. To maintain his position, he gossips maliciously about the Elder, trying to undermine higher leadership. But he's not satisfied with just talking badly. He actively sabotages the organization by refusing to welcome the traveling brothers. And worse still, he stops to people who actually want to help. And if they defy him, well, he literally excommunicates them, putting welcoming people straight out of the church. Think about how extreme that is for a second. He is completely weaponizing his authority to isolate his community, all to ensure that no one challenges his dominance.
Part 4. Demetrius, a worthy example.
Right in the thick of this chaotic, toxic environment orchestrated by Diotrephes, the elder introduces our third and final character to Gaius, a man named Demetrius. Now, if Diotrephes is the glaring warning of what not to be, Demetrius is the model. Notice how comprehensively Demetrius is endorsed here. In a community completely fractured by gossip and power plays, Demetrius somehow manages to be well spoken of by everyone. But this isn't just a superficial popularity contest. The elder officially throws his leadership weight behind him too, saying, "We also speak well of him." And most importantly, he's validated by the truth itself. The elder is providing Gaius with a highly trustworthy alternative, basically proving that even in a highly corrupted environment, integrity still exists and it can be verified. So, the crucial point is part 5, the ultimate takeaway. What exactly is the elder trying to achieve by outlining these specific behaviors before his face-to-face visit? Why draw this sharp contrast between Gaius, Diotrephes, and Demetrius? Well, smack in the middle of this drama, in verse 11, we find the core lesson. The elder writes, "Dear friend, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. Anyone who does what is good is from God." He goes on to warn that anyone who does evil has not seen God. It's a timeless warning. Look, when you are surrounded by power struggles and toxic leadership, it can be incredibly tempting to just fight fire with fire, right? It's tempting to adopt the manipulative tactics of someone like Diotrephes just to survive the workplace or your social group. But the elder is explicitly urging Gaius, and by extension all of us, to choose our role models wisely. Do not let the toxic behavior of others change your core values.
This incredibly short, 2,000-year-old letter leaves us with a whole lot to chew on. It completely strips away the centuries and shows us that the core mechanics of ego, hospitality, and leadership, they haven't really changed at all. We all know a Gaius. We've all probably dealt with a Diotrephes. The text challenges us to look really closely at our own organizational and social circles right now. Think about it. In your own communities, amidst all the drama and the shifting dynamics of power, who are you choosing to imitate? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.